like to introduce you to Lauren Godfrey, who's here on behalf of Cisco. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Lauren Godfrey. I work for a company called Cisco. You probably know who Cisco are. But for those of you who don't, we started off 1984. There was a couple at university together, Len and Sandy. They were in California, and they wanted to be able to email each other from different campuses. And in 1984, you couldn't do that. So they created a routing protocol, as you do. And then they realized they probably invented something quite important. So the couple drove to San Francisco, where they registered the company. And actually, our logo, whilst it looks like a load of squiggly lines, is the Golden Gate Bridge. So I've worked for Cisco for the past 6 years, and we've gone from selling switching and routing, the things you need to connect to the internet. We talk about the network being the platform, and then you kind of build everything else that you want to do on top of that. So we still sell millions and millions of worth of switching and routing, but now we also sell wireless products or security products or collaboration, all the phones and the video conferencing that you see on 24 and all the American films, that's Cisco. There's actually at the moment 31,290 people registered at Cisco networking academies just in the UK at the moment. So the future workforce are going to know who Cisco are and hopefully are going to be trained on us. So I'm going to tell you today a little bit. My title was The Future of Technology, which I think you'll agree was a small topic for 30 minutes. But I'm going to give it a go. And you've heard a lot of industry terms, a lot of trends that we've talked about earlier this morning, lots of buzzwords, social, mobile, the post-PC era, bring your own device, you name it, we've probably had it today. And there's actually one that I think is going to become more and more important as we go through, the next 10, 20, 30 years, which is the Internet of Everything. And again, you're probably thinking another technology buzzword, but I'm going to tell you why it's actually an important one, and it's going to unite everything else that we've talked about today. And actually, it's not just a buzzword, it's much, much more than that. So you at Cheshire are actually very privileged, and you have a unique start to this Internet of Everything because you're going to have the greatest connection in the UK. So you're in a great position as it starts. And I'd like to make the presentation a little bit interactive. So I'm going to ask a few questions, ask for shows of hands, don't be afraid. It's not scary. But how many smart mobile devices do you think there are connected in the world today? 1 billion? The answer is about 2 billion at the moment. Apple sell $500 million a day of smart mobile devices, and they're not the market leader. Android are. 4 out of 10 devices at the moment are Samsung. And actually, I don't know whether you read, but Tesco have just announced they're going to make their own smartphone. That's going to be out before the end of this year. So things are changing in the smart mobile world, and Gartner and some of the other industry leaders predict that by 2020, there's going to be 50 billion things connected to the internet. So it's just incredible growth. And when we talk about the Internet of Everything, what I mean is, at the moment, everything that's connected to the internet, or the majority of things, have a computer chip inside them, and their core function is to compute. So you're talking about your computer or your phone or your PC, your laptop. That's their core function. And actually with the Internet of Everything, we're talking about everything being connected to the internet. So things like your washing machine, your street lights, your car, your dog. These are the things that we're going to start seeing being connected to the internet. So let's look at it as a consumer. You've presumably, a lot of you have cars. At the moment, Cisco are in talks with all the car manufacturers across the globe. What are they doing to connect their cars to the internet? And BMW at the moment, if you buy a new BMW, you already get your BMW with a Vodafone SIM card inside it. And if you think about if you connected your car to the internet, all of a sudden BMW can see where you go, they can see how fast you get there, whether you run any red lights, and all of a sudden all this information is being collated. They know whether you drove straight to Harrods or whether you stopped for a coffee en route. And you think, why on earth would any of the car manufacturers want my data? And the answer is because they can sell it. And so there's all these kind of things that's going to be coming online. And digital signage, for example, is going to start to become tailored to you. So the technology to do this is already here, but example of companies like, there's a company called Mondelez who are the new name for craft foods. They own Cadbury's and Kenco. And you go into some of their stores and you walk up to the display and the camera has a sensor on it and it will check out your bone structure and it will work out how old it thinks you are and what gender it thinks you are. And so then you go to the shelf and you pick up what you're going to buy, and there's weight sensors on the shelf and it can see, it can sense what you're buying. And so you walk past the next screen and all of a sudden it's giving you a promotion for the thing you got in your hand. And that's the things that we're going to see coming online more and more. At the moment, the technology's there, it's just very expensive. But as that, becomes more and more readily available, that's one of the big differences we're going to see. Can I have a show of hands for people who've got a Nectar card in the audience, please? Yeah. So Sainsbury's, funnily enough, don't want to give you 300,000 points. That's not the reason they've given you a Nectar card. They're analysing what you buy. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why do I want Porsche or Sainsbury's or anyone to have my information? That's my data, that's my property. But there will be benefits. One of them, going back to the car analogy, is there's going to be all kinds of different benefits in terms of insurance, because the more people know about you, the more specific they can make these things. Another thing is, if you imagine you've got a Porsche, if you connected your car to the internet, all of a sudden Porsche know that different parts of your car could potentially break, and Porsche give you a call and tell you need to come for a service before you break down. So that's another one of those benefits. Now, at this point, you're still thinking, I'm not convinced. I still don't want people to have my data. This is a big, bad, scary world out there. And I hear you. But I guess, with all due respect to the audience, none of us are 15 years old. And we all value our privacy, because that's what we're used to. But a 15-year-old has never had that privacy. And they've never had that privacy because of Facebook. So I read a stat that 1/3 of the UK population now visit Facebook every day, just in the UK. 83% of them do it on smartphones or tablets. So that's, bring your own device thing. 83% of them are not on a PC. Does everyone know what a like is? When you click to like something on Facebook, you stick a thumbs up to your friend's dress that you like or your football team. And there's 4.5 billion likes a day now on Facebook. That's 4.5 billion times you tell a market researcher what you like. It's scary stuff. I've got loads of friends who are having babies at the moment. And the best bit is when they post on Facebook, amazing, little Johnny, born today, £7, 2 ounces. And all of a sudden, Facebook know the date of birth of your child. So this is the future of technology, as Cisco and some of the industry experts see it. So what's this going to mean for businesses and for people like yourselves? Cisco tout this big, ridiculous number. $19 trillion is the number that Cisco say businesses are going to make in profit as a result of the Internet of Everything. And actually, once you start to use all this data, the best bit is once they start to collate this information. So if you think of doing this over a period of time, the computers are going to start to spot trends. So, for example, they might see that in Warrington Station on a Thursday night, people love Mars bars. And all of a sudden, they get the Mars bar vans to proactively put Mars bars in there before they ever run out. So all of a sudden, Mars have got, they've never missed a sales opportunity. They've increased their revenues as a result. And you never need to settle for a Snickers when you actually wanted a Mars bar. So there's going to be all kinds of things like this, and for yourselves as kind of SMEs, there's a huge amount of SMEs that support bigger, larger organisations in parts of this supply chain. So hopefully these kind of things, these kind of ideas are going to be reasonably relevant to you. So at the moment, another pilot we're doing is in Birmingham, and we're working with a company that make parking meters. So we've got these parking meters, they're connected to the internet, and they've got a 5-year battery, 5-year life. So you put them under the ground, car drives on them, and all of a sudden you don't need, parking attendants anymore. It's all done automatically. You're connected. And again, the best bit about that is actually what they found is they've collated the information, and they were able to tell all the local businesses near that car park, you need to be open between 6 and 8 because that is your busiest time of day, and you're all closed. So again, it's about getting intelligent with all the information that you're going to be able to collate from this. Now, lots of people have asked me, why is the Internet of Everything going to happen now? Why hasn't it already happened? And why do you see this kicking off now? And the answer is, it's a little bit of a perfect storm, what we're seeing at the moment. Now, if I think of films that I've watched in New York probably 20 years ago, I used to think of it as a centre of crime, gangs, shootings. And actually now, New York is somewhere that lots of people want to go on holiday. It's a very cool place to go. There's a person that's kind of widely attributed with the clean-up of New York, the mayor at the time, Rudy Giuliani. So there's loads of theories about, zero tolerance and cracking down on the crime. And actually, if you look into it, there's a few more theories to how he managed to clean up New York. One of them says that he used the data that was available to him. And what I mean by that is what Rudy Giuliani did. So 1993, he came into power in New York as the mayor. And he got access to this database called CompStat. You can Google it. It's a database they still use today. And what he did was, when there was a crime in New York, he got the police officers and the people on duty to record 400 pieces of information about that crime. That was 400 pieces of data an hour, and now we can collate 400 million pieces of data in a second. Some of the key takeaways that I wanted people to do was just to realise that technology is going to become so huge and so relevant, even for some of these small businesses in Cheshire. It's going to be really, really important. And so talk to companies like Cisco. It's not as scary when you know somebody that can help. So that's everything that I wanted people to get out of it today. I don't know whether you know, but at the moment, if you want, you can go online, you can buy a pill, you can swallow it, and you can be connected to the internet yourself. You can now, I've just saw last week, you can track your taxi on Google Maps through the app, and it'll tell you, you can see the little picture of your car coming along the road. See when they switch on the TV, and you can see that they're boiling the kettle, and all of a sudden, you know that they're up and they're okay without having to be there. So there's going to be all these kind of, social implications. It's not necessarily important about the size of your business anymore, because the technology and where it's going is going to level that playing field, and it's not really going to matter, whether you're a small business or whether you're a large organisation. I think it's going to be about the ideas that you've got and the way that you use technology and the way that, you embrace the technology that's going to be, the success of your business. Google said there's going to be a flu outbreak. And the government went, how do you know? And Google said because 2 weeks prior, the sheer amount of people that had been Googling their symptoms said there's going to be an outbreak, and there was. So there's going to be all these kind of, crazy, weird and wonderful ways that we use this technology. You're probably thinking, why on earth is this relevant to me as a business in Cheshire? Clearly, the SMBs are really, really important for the future growth of this country. And actually, what we're finding within Cisco is it doesn't matter what size company you are in order to take advantage or in order to use this kind of technology. And I know you're probably thinking, I've put blood, sweat and tears into my business that I truly care about. I don't want to be overridden by some big corporate that just comes, and does this technology well and tramples all over us. That's not what we're finding. We're actually finding that technology is levelling the playing field between some of the smaller businesses and the large organisations, because it's not about the size of your company. It's actually about the idea that you've got. Are you doing something different? Is it an ingenious idea? WhatsApp was 55 employees, and that was $19 billion they sold for. It's not about your size anymore. It's actually about the way you use technology. It's the way you use it yourselves to enhance your business processes. But also, it's the way that technology could potentially give you the mark on your competition. Thank you very much for your time.